Mikey, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How things going?
Awesome. What comes to mind when you think about the guys in the room that we have here and what they're going through?
Um, I'd say excitement. I think it's a pretty cool time of life. Transitioning is for me it was challenging. I think this program is key because really what they're trying to do is they've got a moment they can take a pause. Okay, I've been doing something and focus on something for a very long time. That's exciting. I actually would say it was a tough time for me. I didn't have resources, no program like this or anything that was kind of suggesting what a roadmap could look like. So I would say it was daunting. A dad of one of the guys I played with, Al Neal, kind of took me aside and we had a meeting and just had a coffee and chatted about what he was doing. He was super passionate about life, in his profession, and started saying, "Hey, you should be looking into this," and took the time to do that. And I think that was huge for me. So there was a bit of floundering for me in the transition, but looking back, I'd say, yeah, I stuck with excitement because in hindsight, there is a way, to do this smoothly and have a lot of fun with it. The hockey guys that I met in junior, then into college, for sure, some of my best friends in the world. But also, it's kind of cool to see us on the other side. Some guys ended up playing in the NHL and living their dream, and I think that's great. And a lot of us are living our dreams doing other things. But it's been cool because a lot of those guys, have been really successful, and now we're networking a lot and we're connecting a lot on a business level and able to do things kind of like we're back on a team again. So I think those relationships have been huge. I've stayed connected with all these guys. Met up with my college team last summer again, and it's just awesome to see how well everybody's doing. And it just shows you too the kind of guys that are successful in hockey and successful on teams are going to be able to do those and transition those skills into whatever they do after. I think on paper it's pretty quick. Bachelor in Science Finance came out when it, did some work in the banking field and then became a CA. But I think that if I think about education, I think the biggest thing I've learned now is I've learned more in the last 5, 6 years in business than I ever learned before. So I wouldn't say education is defined by what I did in a classroom. Some people, I think classroom's great. That might be one of the ways you can learn. But I think really what happened to me was there was when I was focused on being a professional hockey player, my focus on education was not what it was after when I realized, hey, I need these skills in order to be successful on the other side. That approach to education, and I don't mean about education in a classroom, just education, learning every day, completely changed. Yeah, I've always got one or two books on the go all the time. Flash Boys, Michael Lewis, I'm reading right now. Attracted to that book because you've got these guys. They're kind of the enemy and the evil ones in the book. They're building this fiber optic cable between these 2 points, but the passion and the dedication that they take to get this done is just unbelievable. And that's kind of a weird takeaway from this book. But you take little things like that and you say, wow, they were able to get this done, and it was very lucrative for them. But I love a lot of Michael Lewis stuff. I'm constantly reading biographies, Sam Walton, Jeff Bezos, like those are kind of my go-tos. Seeing, and the reason I think those are important is you see actually how many they don't call them failures, but how many setbacks these guys all have before they've done really well. So yeah, I'm always keeping my eye on books and reading and spending my downtime, travel time, whatever it is, with a book in my hand for sure. You're pulling something out, there's an aha. It's like, wow, I should be doing this. I can't believe I haven't thought of this before. So that's when I, talk about education. I mean, going back to a finance degree or whatever you are, whatever your ticket says you are, is really, you can, if you stop learning the day after you become a doctor or an accountant, or in this world, you're dead. So I think you have to think about it as continuous learning all the time, building the toolbox. When I got out and I started getting jobs, I started at the RBC and then, moved my way through there and then later on as an accountant in a big public accounting firm. I think the key thing is when I went to take the risk of co-founding a company was thinking about, well, should I do this? Should I not do this? I think if you've got confidence in yourself, you're employable. I mean, the skills you learn playing hockey and the determination, people skills, getting along with others, working as a team, those are employable skills. And I think that you can always go back to that job. Maybe the job's your passion and you never have to leave it. That's great. If it's not and you want to, do something that gets you excited every morning, I think that my takeaway there is that you can do that. Go out and try what you're doing, because, hey, if you don't succeed, or if it doesn't go the way you planned, you're employable. You can go back and get that job at any time. So it's not, security is not a reason to stay in a job for 30 years. It's if you're not passionate about it. Probably tap dancing to work every day is my definition of success. I honestly jump out of bed excited. I work with great people, passionate people. We're trying to do things that have a big social impact. Clean energy company, so we're focused on transitioning Alberta off coal and clean air, and all the things that we maybe take for granted a little bit in Canada. So I define success as I work with great people that I'm excited to talk to, excited to be with. There's challenges for sure, but tap dancing to work every day feels pretty good, because it's not a job. It's not, I don't have to turn it on and turn it off. It's something I have to actually make a conscious effort not to think about on the weekends, because it's just, you need to have that break in your mind. But it's pretty exciting stuff.
Where'd you get that line, tap dancing to work? Do you remember?
I think that's a Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, one of those guys.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Great, good artist copy, great artist steal, right? So I think being present is a massive trait that I see that runs through all of these very successful people. And you think it should be the opposite. They're extremely sought after. The one guy who's the chairman of our company spends time. I'm so appreciative of his time. He's a very, very successful person, long time, Canadian large company CEO. Everybody wants him to be on their board and do this and do that. When I'm with him, he's completely present. Phones aren't ringing. He's not checking his email. He doesn't have 10 other things going on, and we don't get interrupted. And I think that's very common with the mentors. They're completely present. It's so hard to be present these days. I'm talking to Nate. I got an email coming in. These guys are dialed all the time. I think that's amazing. And they're all that way. It's not, and they should be the busiest people, because they're very successful financially and otherwise. So I think that's huge. That's something I try and apply. I try never to multitask. I think it's a huge, huge problem. I think learning and being curious. These guys most of them are in their 60s, and they have no reason to want to continue to learn and be curious from a financial perspective. They could retire many times, but they continually ask questions and are so curious. And if they don't know something, they want to know why they don't know something. And they're so prepared to come to a meeting. They know everything about what you're going to talk about. They're so prepared. And if you're not prepared, you're dead, because they're so prepared. So I think those are kind of three things that jump out at me quickly in terms of these guys and it's not just, one guy. This is like down the middle for these guys. So I think it's interesting, because it's counterintuitive, because they should be the busiest guys. They shouldn't care, and they don't need to prepare. It's really amazing, actually. Yeah. And it's a continuous thing you got to work on, because it's, I think the one misconception is that, you want to be the go-getter and the busy guy, but actually, taking time and then letting your brain reset, you're much more productive when you're back at it. So yeah, and your family, deserves that as well. You could look at it as, I should be back at the office. I'm thinking about all sorts of things when I'm out there. And I think that, in order to be a disruptor and be creative, that's the time where, just like you said, Nate, you have those ideas, they pop into your head, and they don't always pop into your head when you're grinding over your computer. They'll pop into your head when you're, trying to get to the top of a mountain in a run. It was all about hockey all the time. I had an internship in Boston the summer of my junior year at school, offered to me with a great, investment bank. I didn't even consider it because, I wanted to go hang with my buddies and train in Victoria, which was a blast. Don't get me wrong. But when you're thinking about your future and what you're trying to accomplish, starting to develop those skills and relationships is huge. And it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice and not have any fun. It's just a matter of, taking an interest and finding out what you're passionate about is huge. So yeah, I completely agree with you. If somebody would have slapped me in the head and say, "Hey, wake up! You don't have to just train and hang out with your buddies all summer," I think that would have been good advice.
Yeah, we did have some good times.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Uh,
I'd say use this program. I'm not saying that because I'm biased and I want to help my buddy Nate out. I actually feel like I did flounder when I left hockey. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I felt like I was never going to find something that felt as good as scoring the winning goal. And I think that this program and just getting some skills and a game plan together is so huge because you don't want to waste time. Getting on the fast track to not fast track to fame and fortune, the fast track to tap dancing, to work every day or whatever you decide to do is huge because you won't want to go back.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Hey buddy, how you doing?
doing great. How are you?
Okay, good. That works perfectly.
Okay.
And then maybe just have like sun on your face, not in behind you.
Yeah, I could just hold the phone. I could just set it up on something.
Yeah, set it up on
So,
something.
so about right here?
Yeah,
Okay, got it. I can do that.
beautiful. And then just back up, back up a little bit. You're a bit fishbowl. You're right in there.
Okay, about like this?
Yeah, yeah.
Is better? Okay, I got it.